Hey everyone, this is Tim from YourSixGaming. Today in this video, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to see enemies easier in Call of Duty Vanguard when you're on your PlayStation or Xbox. So let's go ahead, jump into the video right now. So do you want Call of Duty Vanguard to look better and for you to see enemies easier? Well, this is very easy to do. I'm just on the main multiplayer menu right now. If I press options and then tab over to graphics, the first thing we want to adjust is our safe area. Now you want the line to be exactly at the edge of your screen. So since we have this set up, let's go to apply now and then scroll on down. Now you'll notice the 120 Hz mode for me is turned off. If you want 120 frames per second when you're playing, you have to go into your PlayStation or Xbox settings to adjust those. Then here we have brightness. Brightness is also grayed out. If you have high dynamic range turned on, brightness will be turned off. So if you actually want to turn up your brightness, you have to turn HDR off in the PlayStation or Xbox settings once again. Now, go to color customization. Under here, I really like filter 2 or filter 3. It will add like a warmth saturated look to your screen. And then you can go to world or both for that to take effect. Then scroll on down to field of view. I would suggest putting that around 100 to 105. If we look at the picture to the right, 80 is about the default. And if you bump it up to under 5, you're going to be seeing stuff on your screen that you wouldn't see when it's set to 80. So it's very highly recommended that you bump this up so you can actually see enemies easier when they're at the edges of your screen. Now let's go on down to camera movement. I have this at least 50%. The default is 100%. And if you are someone that does have motion sickness, lowering this may help alleviate that motion sickness, because a lot of the shakings and other things that are going on with the screen causing it to bounce. Then we have world motion blur, weapon motion blur, depth of field. We can turn all those off. All it is making your screen blurry. And when you're quick turning around snapping on someone, if your screen is blurry, it's going to be a little bit harder to detect actually where that person is. So by turning those off, you'll be able to snap to target much quicker and easier. Then on the newer PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, you will have this setting, FidelityFX CAS. Go ahead and turn this on and bump this all the way up to 100. So now that we have this set to 1.0, this will sharpen your screen and make it look much better. It looks great. Now, if you don't have an HDR TV that's 4K, you may not notice a huge benefit from this, but go ahead and check it out. For me, it makes a difference. Then you want to turn on-demand texture streaming, and this will download high-quality textures to your console storage from the internet as you play the game, providing more colors and detail on surfaces. Sounds great. So turn this on, and if you do have limited amount of bandwidth, make sure you have enabled download limits turned on and then set your daily download limits. Now you can see how much I've been using on average over the last 6 or 7 days. It's been about 6 gigabytes of downloads. So that can change and vary. Then I just allocate the large textured cache size for how much space I give the downloads on demand. Okay, so now that we have this set up in the game, we want to go ahead and change some console settings themselves. So let's go back to settings here and then scroll on down to screen and video. And then under video output, let's scroll on down to the right and make sure we have the resolution set to automatic. The 4K transfer rate set to automatic. If you are noticing flickering on your screen, you can lower this to -2 or 1. That should reduce the flickering. Then HDR, I put mine on to on when supported. There was an issue on the PlayStation 5 where it was causing all sorts of issues with non-HDR supported games just being completely weird with the colors. Let's go down to adjust HDR, and this will close Call of Duty Vanguard. And this is important to get correct. If you do not have this correct, your colors and your brightness and everything will just be completely off. So in the middle of the screen, that box right there, you want to adjust your screen by making it brighter or darker so that is barely visible. and then go to next. So I have it on my screen right now. Let's lower this so I can barely see it on my screen. And then let's go to next and do the same thing on this screen. And then for the black screen, go in and adjust it too. So this will reflect in your game. If it's set up accordingly, everything should look more accurate with the colors. And the black should be more black as opposed to grayed or washout. Now, if you did want to adjust the brightness in the game, you can turn off HDR right here, and then that option to adjust brightness will appear. However, HDR stands for high dynamic range. This will give you better looking colors that are more accurate and deep. So I tend to keep that on for that reason. Then under here, we have enable 120 Hertz output. I just have mine set to on Mac, and this will enable 120 Hertz video output for games that support 120 Hertz frame rate. If you experience video output problems with these games, turn off this setting. Now you can choose between quality or high frame rates on your PlayStation 5. We back out of this. And then scroll up to save data and game app settings. And then go down to game presets and go over to the right. We can choose between the performance mode, which will be your 120 frames per second on 1080p displays, or the resolution mode, which will be your 4K 60 frames per second. So if you want to go ahead and change that, the 120 frames per second will look probably a little bit better when you're running around doing quick motions. It'll be easier to aim and track people. But the resolution mode will have a higher quality of detail on the screen. Go ahead and try both of those out, depending on if you have a 120 Hertz monitor or not. So hopefully this video did indeed help you out. If it did, leave it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel down below for more tech out videos coming up next on YourSixGaming.